And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time at the end of turn 281 in Shadow Empire in Oceania on our Normal Gaia world, where we're working towards victory here. We're in first place with 38.8% of the victory score. And so basically that means we need to get about 11.2, so we can almost do that by getting victory pacts with Belgier's commune, who is usually the one that is willing to sign a victory pact. However, we then need to have 25 more victory points than Brunderstein. Which right now that would require us getting up to like 56. So in practice, we're to get the last like 1.2 points, we presumably need to take it off of Brunderstein. So the plan, I think, is we're gonna form up a brigade all along the border down here. Which may be a little bit complicated because it's going to probably involve improving the ports. So we need more brigades because we need to fill this whole front up, ideally. Some of it will be a little bit superfluous. I don't think there's necessarily any troops down here. I think it's in the city and mostly on the road along the way. As the AI is apparently a little bit smart enough to defend hex perks, but is not necessarily taking proactive border defense here. Granted, we're not at war with them, so they're probably most likely defending their exits rather than proactively being redeployed off. Got a port there, they got a port there. They got air bases on both of them, so that's probably where their supplies are coming in for the area. Where is that port? The port's there. Okay. Is there a makeshift port in here? There's a makeshift port in here. One makeshift port. So those are basically the places we're going to overrun. We're going to overrun the ports, because that's where the reinforcements are going to land when they show up here. There's also a small enclave over here. Again, one port. In this case, I think the port is also the city, so we'd have to take the city to drive them off from getting more reinforcements. I think we recently built this road, so next turn we should be able to see whether or not. Well, we're building railhead, so give it 2 turns and we'll see what the supply situation is down here. We probably need like a brigade or 2 down here to overrun the position. So we're looking like 1 brigade, or like 2 brigades over there, like 2 more brigades over here. Undeployed, well, yeah, undeployed, we've got the 6th. We're in the middle of deploying the 5th. In fact, let's see. I don't think the 5th can, the HQ of the 5th can go across yet, no. And I think that's actually all the brigades we have at the moment. Is that 5th and the 6th. Spare. So that presumably means we're going to need to stand up another 3 brigades, which shouldn't be too hard. Right now we're not necessarily running battle dress, so we're not going to go through a bunch of machine parts doing that. Yeah, they're all in guards. We may want to redesign and deploy the tank brigades, because they could definitely be some use, right? Because most of their ports are up here and here. So a good deployment of tanks, in theory, could cut off a bunch of supply lines in here and interfere with their defenses. So basically, we're gonna make the grand plan. We're gonna figure out where we're gonna get all the units from this offensive. I don't know how many victory points this offensive is going to be. It's probably going to be a couple points at least. And basically, we're going to take over those 4 cities and all the surrounding territory and probably try to get right back to peace. We're not going to push to total war on Brunderstein, because simply we're not going to land over here. That's too much effort. Don't think it's worth the time. I'm also not sure. Occasionally they are open to victory packs. They're probably not open to it right now. Oh, they would be open to it right now. So in theory, we could get the 10 victory points or so off of Belgier's commune. But we need to be able to get up high enough that 10 points more is enough to win, which we're not there yet. And to be fair, if I can win without Belgier's commune, we'll win without Belgier's commune. Is kind of the goal. Have we called you up and dealt with the slaves? We have. So I think we're, as I said earlier, I think we're ready to roll the turnover. Just sort of introducing the situation to the stream here. Completed a bunch of buildings in Killslosh. Probably gonna keep throwing citizens out to these far out points to support mines and buildings and such. Truck station in Mooncron. If it continues at the current rate, we'll be done next turn. Some more solar panels for more power. Okay, and then we keep it a power plant, the demolition plant. Okay. So let's go ahead and cycle that turn, and we'll see what the state of affairs is at the beginning of next turn. We may also need to upgrade ports in various places to support these offensive. We'll see as we get the units deployed to carry them out. May also, it depends on how much free logistics stuff. Might try to deploy a little bit of combat planes to support the offensive. Because I can probably do tactical bombers and fighter bombers from one of the airfields we set up for air bridging earlier. And then probably be close enough to do airstrikes, which would be one way to deal with armor. Even though our armed forces right now don't really have any anti-tank weapons in the field. Rocket bombs are pretty good at attacking vehicles. They're actually a little bit bad at attacking infantry, but the things we probably have them attacking are the enemy armored units. Round 282. We weren't fighting, so no losses were expected, and we took two decisions. We got two decisions to deal with. One of which is what to do after we finish with jetpacks. Oh, we got another militia project. Oh, this is actually a good question. None of these techs are particularly interesting to me, so we probably want to be picking a tech that facilitates access to other techs. So, for example, hyper-explosive ammo would facilitate getting down to the intercontinental ballistic missiles. I think extreme vehicles are required for... No, not required for battle dress. Okay, so we've got what we need for battle dress. We did the mass food production. We need more food? We don't really need more food. Could finish up ammo printer. Well, that might be an ecotech. I don't see the tag here. So it started being researched. So ammo printer would be one just to have automated turret or abalite coating would allow us to get down to heavy battle dress. Yeah, okay, so that's probably the three we're looking at. Either hyper-explosive ammo, automated turret, or ammo printer. Okay, so looking at it, ammo printer must be an ecotech, so we'll go ahead and do automated turret, so we can have battle dress, heavy battle dress, so something can pop up. We might skip over normal battle dress and go straight to heavy battle dress for the units we battle dress.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so nice to see that we got easy choices as far as little power for the turn. Brigades that just came across can forward deploy to their positions. We get back to strategic redeployment. So the SHQ, or the command group, wants to come across, finish up that unit. And then we're going to need to bring the next one across. If we'll be able to get the whole brigade across is maybe up in the air. You can already start to see the color shifting, so the answer is probably no. Oh, maybe. Maybe we'll get the whole thing across. Yeah, okay, we got the whole thing across. I don't think that transport has surplus to go ahead and move more personnel across. This one might have some. So let's go ahead and try to stand up a new formation. OHQ, brigade sized, probably just infantry. Yeah, if we had like RPG brigades, we'd probably make a group of that, but it looks like it's just going to be normal infantry. Don't necessarily want to pay the logistic cost of the extra artillery yet. Okay, so there's the 7th. And we can forward deploy a good portion of the 7th over to this position over here. We won't be able to get the whole thing over, but we'll get most of it over. Okay, and that's the bridge is full at that point. So everything except for the last infantry unit is across, so we'll get everything deployed and bring in the last infantry component across. We'll see what the reconnaissance tells us now that we have the troops in position. We might actually send another one up over there. We might just focus on one more over here. And then be looking at our supply strength after the fact to figure out what the value of upgrading ports would be. I may also do I want another brigade over here. Yeah, I think I'm going to want another brigade over here. So as part of doing that, I think we're going to want to upgrade the 2nd infantry here. So I'm going to upgrade you. I'm going to swap you over to motorized. So of course, it's now down a bunch of vehicles. Not too hard. We can easily replace missing vehicles. And this is because we're going to have it push off the bottom here to help protect, or help encircle that area. And then we will stand up one more brigade. This will be normal infantry. Again, we probably won't be able to get this across anytime soon. Like, yeah, I'm not even sure we'll be able to get this across. Looking at the facts of the logistics situation here for the moment. We'll see if it improves over time. And it may improve over time, because we're shipping a little bit of surplus of capacity. More is going out than is being produced, so supply should improve over time. We'll see if we can get that new brigade in. Granted, that'll be delayed by the fact that we're going to ship the trucks up, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. We could do coal to success. That requires me having some reconnaissance on zone, so I think it is time to probably deploy some spies. First, let's get this militia project out. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put one over here.
Yes, sir.
Put one over there.
That, sir.
And then we'll do some spy play.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Let's get a bunch of spies deployed. Let's go ahead and use our cash reserves to continue population growth. Negotiating for some population growth.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this one's pretty pissed off. Over to be some power, of course.
Standing by. Roger that. Roger that.
try antitrust operations. But I don't think that's necessarily going to help too much with... Well, because we're going to fail most of them, they're not going to really do very much.
Order received. Order received.
Well, that was supposed to raise the population's happiness a little bit. Okay, we'll try a little bit, one of the bigger
Order
ones.
received.
That one had an effect this time.
Order received.
At least the 2,000th population is having an effect. It's gotten back up to 40 opinion, which is roughly where they started the turn. Went through a lot of money doing that, obviously. We'll move the rare earth metals.
Affirmative.
Generate some money. There we go. Construction. How did the construction go over the intern? Stuff completed. So railhead's done. Solar panels done. And we can't upgrade the solar panels. That's as much as it's going to. Apparently, the Moncron truck station did not complete. It pretty much will complete next turn. It just barely failed at completing. Solar panel failed to complete next turn. Working on the power plant, working on the demilitarization plant, working on the metal mining facility. Over here, what's our worker expectations? So we're above worker expectations, which is probably where we want to be. Probably means we're actually fine over there. We'll let the civilization score kick in a bit. How's the civilization score looking over in this area? We're level 2. This should go up to 50. It's fiddling a little bit in the moment, but it's otherwise stable. We may need to upgrade the port here, but it's a little preemptive to assume so. MTH contracts for transport. None of them are expected to expire. Sego could improve by improving the port. Nose hopping can be improved by improving the port. The port could be improved a little bit there. And yeah, there could be improved if we wanted more capacity. And that port could be improved. In fact, that might be a port that we're interested in improving. Yeah, let's go ahead and improve this port.
Roger that.
Because we already decided we need another brigade in that area. How's the construction going over here? Well, the answer is, we finished the construction. Do we want to ship the population in here? Mine is fine. It's a little low in power, but the mine is otherwise functional. Okay, so let's just shove colonists in here. Population.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I believe it is now time to go ahead and cycle the turn, so we can work on getting these brigades positioned on the next turn. Also, next turn we should have the spies embedded, so we can attempt to do some call to successes. To see if we can steal some population and victory score off of him that way. So what we're kind of hoping to see is that more brigades do not show up in the places we're planning on attacking. We're at peace with them and they're at war with someone else, so they should be prioritizing the fronts they're at war with. We'd like to maintain some degree of element of surprise if we can. Round 283, we have a lot of decisions this turn with 7 decisions. One of which is going to be what to do with those marauders. Minor worker strike, and we'll give it some of the demands. Marauders, yeah, you have my full support to deal with them. Zone upgrade, Zollhaben, which is this one. Yeah, Zollhaben, you want to improve. If we do that, you'll have quality of life issues, which is why we've been holding off on doing it. Yeah, let's say no for the moment. Ripple Point. I think it's similar with Ripple Point, probably. If I can even remember which city Ripple Point. Ripple Point's the one we've been colonizing, yeah. This will only drop to about 60. We'll accept here.
Roger that.
Encourage more people to be less migrating away, because we're over the next level. We're over the next level, obviously. Intercept. Command for the 7th and command for the 8th. Probably doesn't really matter who we assign to which.
Copy that. Yes, sir.
So with highest qualified one in. Yeah, there's the brigade cross. We got one more brigade we want over there. So you want to go across to over here. That's actually, looks of it, we probably want to favor attacking the south side. We do technically have a tiny pocket here from before these guys took over the non-line territory. So I think what ended up happening way long time ago is the squids came in, took this over. We didn't really have the supplies and the construction to get over here to deal with squids. They naval landed the squids and took the territory in the squids, which is why there's this little pocket here. Which is a surprisingly high population these days, with 20,000 people in what was otherwise worthless backwater territory. Okay, well, if I had space, they'd be going down here, but instead they're going to end up down here. Because we need a brigade for down there, and there's no point in waiting to deploy it. Okay, so the whole brigade was able to get across. We do surprisingly actually have quite a bit of surplus strategic value, or strategic transporter value across those points. That is good to see. Complete the truck station in Moncron. Probably don't need to upgrade that again. Port Slop, the solar panel field is full. At level 5, because the city's only level 5. Power plant proceeded at half speed, which isn't great. Solar demolition is at full speed. Port was a little bit delayed, probably due to... Well, it might have actually just been the hiring issues. The port construction takes a lot of people to build. Kinslosh did not proceed. Why did you... Oh, because we probably don't have a truck station over here. Okay, we'll queue up a truck station here. That should help.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
The truck station is going to want 1,000-something workers as well, so we'll drop half the colonists here as workers.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
A little over half the colonists. We only got, well, I think technically we're only recruiting 1,000 right now per turn. So we just had less to ship in. Yeah, that's what happened. We just had less shipped in. Because the backlog in a few places had depleted a little bit. And then we want some colonists over here. As workers.
Yes, sir.
Those will deploy next turn. We didn't get up to 50 political power. Surprise! Well, we may have been up there, but I ended up spending it on dealing with the events for the turn. So we're not in a position to do call to success. Good to see the zone approval has improved a bit. Well, I suppose actually that's a thing I haven't been doing, right? Is I could be building housing, social housing. As a way to offset the opinion hit of the corporate control. We're not going to do that right now because I've got other things I'd rather spend my construction on. That is something we do to deal with the corporate control. With the remaining political power, let's go ahead and get our 4,000 population.
Yes, sir.
Standing by. Roger that. Roger that.
Got a little bit of a grumpy governor here, so let's try to improve his opinion with an official gift.
Order received.
There we go. Do you have any pending demands that I've been ignoring? Raise the civilization score, raise the victory points. Okay. Well, one of those is easy to do. The other one is just going to happen if it happens. Oh, and I suppose we have one more. We want another brigade down here, so we can form up that brigade while we're waiting. It's going to be waiting for shipping capacity, of course, but we can raise the brigade and have people hire into it. And we definitely have the shipping full because none of our trucks arrived. Yeah, so we'll get our people in position next turn, and we'll see if it makes sense to start the war at that point, or if I do some call to successes or whatever. Oh, sorry for the slow response to the Twitch chat. Hello. Yep, the plan is to annex some cities if we can. Hopefully that'll give us the victory points when we need to score victory in this stream. Okay, our improved reconnaissance is telling me there are more troops in some of these areas than I was expecting. Okay, so we're seeing the remaining troop movements. Mostly off the Belgian commune, who are actually the people who are most friendly to us, so we can ignore most of the movement. Round 284, we have 8 decisions, a bunch of decisions again. Moral high standing. Okay.
Roger that.
Want the leaders to go up from 39 to 42, okay. We can complete that demand pretty easily. Oh, I should probably do a tank upgrade so we can get some modern tanks. I think those are light tanks we were using. Yeah, so let's upgrade our light tanks. Build on the Abrams. Running the 60mm howitzer. We're still going to run the 60mm howitzer. We will upgrade the armor to the full 50mm steel plate. And we've got propylene petrol, so we'll run the engine, normal engine.
Yes,
Given some
sir.
of the demands.
Roger that,
Moral high standing. A philosopher high standing is urging people to welcome the violent barbarians from the wastelands. They're actually good people, goes the argument. They just need the opportunity to integrate and they'll become upstanding citizens.
Understood.
Plus 50 to support, plus 43 to education, giving plenty to get a critical success, minimize the population loss. Okay.
Roger that. Affirmative. Roger that.
Okay, so we know we want 3 more leaders. How do we want to go about getting those leaders? We can recruit some juniors, recruit some civilians, some military. We're gonna grab people like the strong, so we'll grab the strong.
Roger that.
Heroic's probably...
Roger
well, we'll
that.
grab it anyway. Okay, so it didn't appear to affect the profile. Some of the profiles, like I think Enforcer is going to say, hey, it's going to raise the profile, which we don't want. Actually, let's scrap that one, so that's not an option. And what do we have for proud waste? Okay. Electrical lawyer. Grab you
Roger
as well.
that.
Okay, so that's our 8 leaders. We don't have enough political power to do call to success. So what the Twitch chat is asking, why not polymer armor? I think polymer armor, I think, is actually lighter armor. So the different armors are specialized types for different roles. If we can look here, we can do a blueprint. Actually, no, this isn't a blueprint. This makes sense for a blueprint situation. Light tank, new blueprint. Right, so the choice was, did we want steel plating, which is 400 armor strength, 250 weight, which only costs metal and IP. The polymer one is all the metal cost goes away and gets replaced. To be fair, with half as much, but with polymer or with rare metals. And in theory, the armor strength is a little bit higher. Well, armor strength is a little bit higher. Now, depending upon your map, rare metals are potentially more expensive or potentially cheaper. That's a bit of a map-specific thing. One thing that's not shown here, per se, is weapon specializations. Different types of rounds have different effects on different types of armor. I don't necessarily know a good way to show that. Design log, maybe? Yeah, so I don't necessarily know how to show that, but there's different types of armor and there's different types of weapons. And different weapons affect different armors differently. So usually I just default to using the plain steel armor, just because iron is usually cheap and abundant, whereas the rare metals are a little bit more expensive. The rare metals are basically you're trading off of technically a better armor for more expensive input. And it also changes up your vulnerability profile. So I think it's laser weapons. I think the polymer armor is weak to laser weapons or something like that. So each of the armor different types, and there's a couple different armor types, have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the weapons, right? So you've got standard steel, you have polymer. Where's the other? You have liquid armor. So you can see here, liquid armor, mix of regular armor techniques and energetic fluids that gives extremely good protection against energy weapons. Right, so liquid's really good at stopping the energy weapons. I think it's technically a little bit weaker against stopping the standard solid shot. Where's polymer here? I think polymer is going to have the description as well, if I can find it. There's polymer. Blend of metals and polymer vehicle armor. The armor becomes much harder. I think technically it has a weakness to energy weapons. It's a slight weakness to energy weapons. Because polymers melt, right? So if you focus enough energy on the polymer melt. So this is weak to energy weapons. This is weak to, I think, slightly weak to physical weapons. Again, this is in raw numbers. I think steel sort of no weaknesses, but it's kind of the worst armor. Polymer is a little bit better, but it has a weakness, and sort of by extrapolation has a strength. And then liquid is technically the best, but it has a different weakness, right? It has an energy weakness instead of a solid shot weakness, or has a solid shot weakness instead of an energy weakness. Most of the time, it doesn't super matter. You can do whatever you want, as far as the armor is concerned. Alright, so I think we got all the brigades across that we want. Shipping-wise, we got about 500 spare shipment rate, so that's actually pretty good. So we probably got all the shipping we need down here. Not quite in an attack position yet. And we can see that now that we're getting more and more units in the area, that our reconnaissance values is improving, and they're not quite as thinly positioned as we would have liked. And we're still saturated in shipping into here. Which is delaying getting vehicles to these guys. Those guys are deployed. There's a decent number of guys in here. And, well, apparently they've brought a lot of anti-tank. I don't think anti-tank's going to be the best against infantry. This isn't necessarily going to be a cakewalk to take these locations by the looks of it. At least not as much of a cakewalk as I would have liked. Clean instruction started the metal... Well, the metal mining facility is delayed until that truck station comes into effect, I think. So, it should start next turn, I think. Port's proceeding, but slowed. Soil demolition plant should finish next turn. We can continue to upgrade that. Power plant's continuing to upgrade. What do we have Collins up to? Collins up to 3, okay. Let's continue to send our colonists in here.
Yes, sir.
So there's one thing I could do, well, once we've got enough shipping, we can do that. Let's look at the maritime trading contract throughputs into where. Okay, so we have 500 going there, but that's fine. We don't really need any more going to, well, if we did more going to that island, it probably would want to be Belfolet or the other end, right? Could do more going in there, though that wouldn't necessarily help with getting stuff to the front. It would just help us getting stuff off the island. Nose Hobbin. Close to saturation, but it's not a problem right now. And we don't have a lot of surplus metal either, so I don't necessarily want to be upgrading ports if we don't need them upgraded. You don't necessarily need to be upgraded. That one we're in the process of upgrading, and would benefit from an upgrade as well. Okay, so if I want more shipping, I can do transport contract into Quelfloth. wait. Okay, wait. Elis. 4 more shipping. If I specifically want more shipping off of this northern island. Because right now, we have surplus shipping onto the island, but that's because it's got to go... we got a bottleneck on this tile specifically. So if we got some more shipping up here, then some of the more stuff can run north from Tide and Limtop. Let's just set up a transport contract, to put a bigger transport contract into one of those two. So we got 1,000 points there, we got 1,000 points there. So when does the one into Ripple Point expire? Of course, it's telling me the name of the port. So Quio Fleet is the port in Ripple Point. We have 1,000 landing capacity, and we're only using 500 of it. Yeah, so we'll put another transport contract in there. What I'll do is, instead of necessarily grabbing the whole 1,000, we'll let the old 500 one expire. Okay, it may make sense to pull the brigade we're trying to get groups into back. With the thought process being that if we pull them back, it'll be lower logistics. Well, it'd be easier for them to walk out, drive out with their stuff than to ship the trucks in, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. And then once they're supplied, we'll see how the logistics is improving here. And this is very much going to be a war that is going to be won by logistics when it goes in, I think. Oh, yeah, the HQ probably wants to reposition it as well for the same reasons. Yes, we'll just let this cycle and see how things improve. I may not have bought any required more people that turn. Which isn't the end of the world. In theory, I think every time we're buying people, that does actually technically slightly piss off the cities we're buying them to. Okay, I don't like how many people we're seeing there. It's a little concentrated. If we had less logistical problems, we'd probably... Well, we also know they have some anti-air there, so maybe doing an air strike is not the solution to the density of enemies there either. But yeah, if we had more logistical issues, or less logistical issues on the island, we'd probably send over planes or send over artillery pieces to help accelerate the push. Round 285, we have 9 decisions. We got the 42 liters, which is what we promised. Got mining revitalization complete, so that should increase a lot of our yields.
Roger that. Roger that.
Order received.
So we could do synthetic fuel if we need more fuel. We have really more power problems. Could do volcanic energy tapping, and then try to tap into the power of this volcano here. That doesn't actually sound that bad. Is volcanic energy trapping going to help us access anything? No. So we'll just be a quick tech in and out, try to get it done quick. On the same note, we could probably do a nuclear power plant. 8,000 research versus... Well, volcanic energy trapping would be done quicker. Wait, let's grab volcanic energy trapping then. Investigate 2 doing harassment. Failure, which is not great.
Yes.
Transfer contract meeting. So, obviously we wanted to go to our port. There are a couple places where it's suggesting where we could land. Like, oh, we could land there, which is someone else's port. We can land next to someone else's port. These ones are at least ours, so we can land at Quilfless, which is where we were planning on doing. There's a couple more beaches we wanted to do, a beach landing location in our area. But no, we'll go to the pre-existing port. Coming from the capital. And we're going to let the existing 500 expire, and we're going to upgrade it to 1,000.
Roger that. Roger
Try to
that.
raise opinion with the commune. Okay, and we do have the political power this time to attempt a call to success. I think the more reconnaissance we have, the better. Let's try here. Critical failure, operatives discovered straight in the act. Difficulty 246, rolled a 172. Okay. I think we're good over there. And we can see that when we did deploy, back to the rear, did fill up. In fact, actually, apparently whatever we did appear to work with getting more supply into this area, so that's good to see. Supply issue sorted itself, and arguably sorted itself faster than I was expecting it to. Harder than I was expecting it to. Not sure what exactly happened there. I suspect shipping back to the capital finished on something. So we just had less stuff to ship. .283 could optimally deliver to SHQ. 283 was actually delivered. Okay. Because it wants to maintain some sort of reserve food. Okay, so we just caught up is what happened with all the backlog there. Demilitarization plant in Collins completed. We want to continue to build that. Metal mine next turn should actually start, hopefully, because now that we've got a truck in the area. We have some strategic value, hopefully. There might be a glitch where I need to bring a single unit over something to get the truck asset to work right. We can send like a single militia over to do that real quick. Wait, see if that works. That should get the mine going. This is where we're building that demilitarization plant. We definitely want that to continue going. Industry. That was Collins. Oh no, it's done, but it's not done. Okay, done, but it's not done. We'll finish next turn. Port's going at half speed, but that's fine. I'd like it to be better, but that's fine. Everything else is fine. Okay. And obviously from trying to talk their people into defecting did not make them particularly happy. Plea of friendship, but we'll hold the plea of friendships for when we're trying to drag them back over to peace after our offensive either succeeds or fails. Do I... Yeah, I think we're in a position where we do want to improve government things here. So I think the sewers I just built... Actually, we'll check the sewers before I... Your health, right? Yeah, your health. So let's build the other three.
Roger that.
University.
Roger that.
Vex. And VidCon.
Roger that.
Colonists go over here. Oh, don't have the logistics to do that, apparently. Because apparently we saturated the transport. Saturated that transport this time. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, and we must be catching up on this one because we've got some positive supply going through that hex. Okay, well, we can't ship to there. The other one to ship to is over here to try.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
To get this one to level 2 as well. Here we have the asset points there, so we should have the quality of life popping in. Could do a review on a few other places. Let's cycle one more turn. Let's see how everything develops construction-wise, and see if metal's going up or coming down. When we're not working on that demilitarization plant. And by how much? $39.1. Oh, forfeit. Almost forgot again. Acquire those unwilling
Yes, sir.
migrants.
Yes, sir.
I pressed the wrong one, sold people that time.
Standing by. Roger that. Roger that.
No, I think I pressed the right one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, there's just a bunch immigrating off to colonies, okay. Strength card zone. We'll try to bribe the population back to being vaguely happy. Which works about as well as you'd think. In fact, because we're having happiness problems here, and we're going to have happiness problems here, let's select the city hex first so we can see the government buildings. We're going to build some social housing here.
Roger that.
Try to bolster up the opinion there a bit. You're low? Why are you low? Corporate abuse. Corporate abuse everywhere. Corporate abuse everywhere. It's starting to become a problem.
Order received.
See how that 2 builds of social housing helps with population improvements, or happiness improvements. cycle the turn. I'm looking at the time. This is probably where I should go ahead and put the part break in. I'm gonna run we're gonna record 4 parts tonight, and we're gonna run them a bit longer because I'm gonna try to see if we can finish in this part. Well, in this streaming session. So I hope you've all been enjoying. We'll pick up next time in the beginning of round 286, where our 3 decisions are. So with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.